Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so we are on the last verse of chapter 2 now, which was a mega chapter. There are two mega chapters in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2 and chapter 18. One is a summary and one is, both are kind of summary, but one is in the way somebody explained anticipation, and one is, in retrospect, the 18th chapter. Okay, so I think that...
Vedantic technique. Tell me about that, please.
Remember we discussed that the saints and sages who become self-realized, they come out in the world and do karmas.
Yes.
Right? But yes, their attitude completely changes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Right.
Just think of it that way. That hey, you can be a karma yogi also and still have that complete knowledge and all that, but then you have to have all these four things without attachment, desire, egoism, and vanity. If somebody is, so that he's still doing karma yoga, but yes, he's also and we also discussed that uski brahmi sthiti kabhi change nahi hoti.
So that's in meditation all the time.
He's in meditation all the time because he knows. Okay. उसका नॉलेज इतना क्लियर है कि वो कभी सपने में भी नहीं भूलता और कभी जागृत में भी नहीं भूलता, कभी डीप स्लीप में भी नहीं भूलता कि वो कॉन्शियसनेस ही है.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Thank you. Yes. I think that's it. I completed that.
Yeah. So, any other question on this? Chapter 2? This last part is in every end of every chapter, and I'll just read it, and you guys, if you have a Bhagavad Gita, you can read it at home. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Sankhya Yogo Nama Dvitiyo Dhyayah. So when in those days, when they didn't write down anything and they always memorized, this is how they knew that they are going to the third chapter now. So this and that tells you Om. Everybody knows what Om is. We are doing Mandukya. So Om represents that consciousness and its full level, the worldly level as well as the transcendental. That is Om. Tat is that. That means consciousness. Tat Sat. Sat means truth. So it's Om. Tat means that consciousness. Sat is again that it is truth. Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su. So this Bhagavad Gita Upanishad Su means it is taken from the Upanishad, everything. Brahma Vidya. So this is the final goal, Brahma Vidya. Yoga Shastra. So it's telling you the goal and it's telling you the path to the goal. So when you say Brahma Vidya is the goal, Yoga Shastra is the path. That's what it's telling you. So this is a complete scripture. Yoga Shastra. Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. It's a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And that is the Upanishadic style. That whoever is listening to Kathopanishad, you see how the Nachiketa and Yamaraj is having a conversation, because the rishis believed that this conversation really take you to the depth of it. And it's a much, much nicer way to learn something is a conversation between the two. That style is a lot more. If pure Vedanta, you start reading, after a while it won't get into your head and you will probably get up and go. Conversation makes it easier. That's what that. So some Krishna or Arjuna ka samvad. Sankhya Yoga is, we already discussed that there are two meanings of the word Sankhya. One is the actual whole line of thinking, but here what it means is logical way to reach there. Krishna Bhagwan did not tell Arjun, hey, there is a Brahman and then you are that, and then he dropped at that. He gave him a whole logic, and then we saw that logic, that he said that how that in your own body you go from childhood to youth to old age, but you remain the same. Your entity remains that same way you go to the next life. All that is logical way of thinking. And when he goes to the next chapters, you will see that how he will bring all the logic. That's why we get convinced, because if somebody just says, this is the way you do it, we won't get convinced. We want to see the logic behind it, and that's called Sankhya over here. Okay, let's read a little bit of Swamiji's commentary here. Go ahead, Meenaji. Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Thus, in Upanishads of the glorious Bhagavad Gita, in the science of the eternal, in the scripture of yoga, in the dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjuna, the second discourse ends entitled, The Yoga of Knowledge. This chapter is named Sankhya Yoga, not in the sense that it is the Sankhya philosophy here, summarized or borrowed by Krishna. Here the word Sankhya is used only in its etymological sense as the sequence of logic in any line of correct thinking and the logical enumerations of the arguments based on which a certain intellectual conclusion has been derived. It is in this sense that the highly philosophical chapter 2 of the Gita is termed as Sankhya Yoga in its epilogue Sankalpa Vakya.
This is called the Sankalpa Vakya, जो हमने बोला ना Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So, and then I already explained what he means by Sankhya. Okay, go ahead.
It is true that in the original Mahabharata, the Gita chapters do not carry this Sankalpa Vakya. Commentators differ in attributing to any single individual its authorship. However, it has been accepted that some scholar or scholars analyzed the contents of each chapter and gave a title to each. To all students of the Gita, it is indeed a great help. Shankara, however, does not comment upon this portion at all.
So he's just telling you that an actual Mahabharata, from where it was taken, it doesn't have it. But whenever they have a Gita as a separate thing, some of the saints and sages to help us, they did that. But I think it's very useful, because it reminds us that whatever we are studying is Brahma Vidya, it's coming from the Upanishad, and it is a Yoga Shastra, and it is, all those things. And then, of course, the chapter name and all that really helps us. Okay, so let's see what the time is. Okay, we can at least read the introductory part of chapter 3, and then we will start with the verses next time, because Swamiji has a beautiful introduction. So basically, it's like उन्होंने chapter 2 में सब कुछ बता दिया, right? The whole entire Gita का जो content है, but he gave it in more like a capsule form. It's like you just थोड़ा सा dose दे दिया बस. लेकिन of course अर्जुन का सब कुछ बात समझ में नहीं आई, and we have discussed it. अगर उसको समझ में आई होती तो उसने धनुष बाण उठा के वो लड़ने चला जाता, वो तो नहीं गया. So सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन उसको ये आया कि अच्छा भाई, कृष्ण भगवान ने बोला कि knowledge is the most superior thing because निर्विकल समाधि and all that. तो बोला अगर मुझे समाधि करनी है तो फिर मैं लड़ूं क्यों? मैं तो आराम से बैठ के I can do the tapasya and I'll get there and that'll be great. So he got confused because he did not realize the relationship between karma and knowledge. Because all the things that we discussed, that we cannot jump directly to the knowledge. It's so subtle, so deep. They call it the secret almost. And the word secret is not used in a sense ki, oh, don't tell anybody secret. Not from that perspective. It's called the guhya, ek word hai, Sanskrit mein. And the 9th chapter is called the royal secret knowledge. The reason it's secret, it's not apparent. You cannot just, किसी ने दिखाया ये भगवान है या ऐसा कर लो हो जाएगा, वो नहीं है. There's a lot of changing your thinking, transcending paradigm, and all those things come under at a different paradigm you have to bring yourself. That's why it's called secret. So we have to understand this very clearly. And Krishna Bhagwan knew that Arjuna had all these impurities in his mind. That's why we have to do karma yoga, to cleanse ourselves. And then when it becomes spontaneous, all those things, or it start getting better, then as it's like one of those things that once you're on the path, it gives you momentum. So in yoga, this happens. In the beginning, I don't even know how to sit. I don't know anything. Then I practicing. फिर मेरी जो progress थोड़ी जल्दी बढ़ती जाती है. It takes momentum. But I got to do it in a sahaj form. And, something like when Kamla ji was talking about last time, hey, I have to make an effort to get up. The time comes when you get up, jump out of bed on your own. There are people who just spring out of bed at 4 a.m. No alarm, nobody needs to tell them. So that's what he's talking about, that once you start practicing, वो सहज बनता जाता है, mind pure होता जाता है, then वो उपासना में बदल जाता है, then knowledge में, and then suddenly you start getting. So there is no escape. It's the same path. Karma yoga is at a little bit early stages, but no matter how much we think great of ourselves, we are at a karma yoga state. Because you saw those 4 things that he mentioned. Do we have all those 4? If we have it, so nobody there to judge where you are. You have to find where you are. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. Find where you are, and then you begin your journey from there. Okay, so who has the book? Meera ji, you have the book, right? Chapter 3?
Yes.
Introduction.
Unfoldment through action. Introduction. So far, Sri Krishna vehemently argued against Arjuna's decision not to fight, but to renounce the glory of success and retire to the quietude of the jungle to live there the life of a monk, seeking the divine. In his arguments, at one moment, the Lord advised that Arjuna's duty was to work without getting himself preoccupied with the result. Krishna had also warned him, let not thy attachment be towards the inaction. Later on, the chapter concluded, Geeta, 2nd chapter, 55 through 72, with the inspired advocacy of the path of knowledge. Naturally, like any sincere student, Arjuna felt confused as to which of the paths he was to follow for his self-development.
So we discussed this, right? Because he heard that such a glorious state, and he thought it's, and the same example if we apply to a worldly example, hey, the student think I'm ready for this particular college, and college says no, first give that entrance exam, I'm going to look at your score, and then I'm going to decide whether you're ready for it or not. I may think I'm ready, but actually I'm not. So this is what the qualification.
The Vedanta philosophy of India is taught to the student during an intimate and free discussion between the teacher and the taught. In no other religion in the world do we find so much freedom allowed to the disciple to ask freely and openly, to contradict and to argue with his teachers.
So we discussed that it allows for question,
Vedanta being a complete and exhaustive science of religion, the great rishis never bypass the intellect of their disciples by appealing to their blind faith or insisting upon their abject devotion. The masters of old encouraged doubts and invited discussions. It is during these discussions that the student wrestled with the teacher in the arena of the intellect. And by this exercise, he became spiritually stronger and perfectly agile in all the other layers of his personality. This style of the Upanishads has been beautifully preserved and artistically employed by the great poet-philosopher Vyas in Geeta.
So now you saw that it's encouraged, and by clearing your doubts, you become stronger spiritually and all that. It's a very healthy thing to do. But the only danger over there is like some people say that some people go just to test the knowledge of somebody, and their only mind is, hey, I'm going to get him now this time. That's not the purpose. Purpose is of my own. I want to clear my doubt, because if I have a doubt, I can never go into Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So it's all clearing of all the doubts, and it happens slowly. There are so many different methods, and we even discussed last week that in Ramana Maharishi, sometimes when you sit with great Mahatmas, that peace brings the answer, because your mind is quiet, automatically you get your answer, because everything is within us anyway. We don't have the answers, because either कोई बोलता भी है ना, हम लोग को समझ में नहीं आता है कई बार, बिकॉज हमारा ही माइंड इम्प्योर है. लेकिन अगर हमारा जितना शांत होता है माइंड, जितना रिसेप्टिव होता है, जितना क्लीन होता है, कोई एक बात बोलता है एकदम घुस जाती है दिमाग में. That's what he's talking about.
Any student sincerely following the second chapter with an irresistible appetite to live and enjoy the perfections pointed out must necessarily entertain the same doubt as Arjuna expresses at the opening of this chapter. In fact, the arguments raised by Krishna in his discourse create in us a great doubt as to what exactly is that path which will take a seeker easily to the realization of the Absolute in him. Is it A, knowledge, B, action, or C, both together practiced in a synthesis, or lastly, D, through a total renunciation of both? Such a doubt can come, as I have already said, only to a seeker who has the enthusiasm to live the life indicated earlier. According to Shankara, action and renunciation are advised in the Vedas for a seeker to pursue serially. Ordinarily, no doubt, no living creature endowed with a mind and intellect can remain, even for a moment of this wakeful conscious existence, without doing some work or the other. Cessation of all activities is the signature of death upon insentient matter. Therefore, act we must from birth to death.
So here he's just telling you that there are, confusion. Hey, do I, go to path of knowledge, or do I go path of action, or both together? Synthesis hai, ya pehle mere ko renouncing both. All kind of confusion is there. So he's going to clear all that in there. And then also one scientific fact: we cannot remain without action as long as we are alive. And that's where Joe was saying, when we sit and do meditate, that's also an action. When we decide, I don't want to, somebody says, I don't want to do any action, that not doing is also an action in Vedanta. That's what we have to remember. So then the conclusion is, until I'm alive, I have to act. Then how should I act? What I should do, and then what attitude I should have. That's where the Karma Yoga comes in. So it is not actually saying don't do action on, that's not even a question, for God's sake, from that perspective. Because like Swamiji said, somebody said, oh, how long I should do Karma Yoga? And Swamiji said, until you are lying flat, you do it. Means he said until you're dead. You keep doing it. So once we understand that, then that question will not come. Meena, do you have some question? No?
Instinctively, in our inborn ignorance, we act motivated by our ego and egocentric desires. An uncultivated man acts thoughtlessly, propelled by his own wrong tendencies, thus ordering for himself ever a new lease of sorrowful existence.
Can you stop 1 second? I think somebody's house noise is coming and it's kind of distracting. Some child is, if you can keep it on mute, that will be better. And when you're speaking, then unmute it. Sorry. Go ahead.
Entertaining these sensuous desires, he acts in the world, seeking joy and earning for himself fleeting happiness, endless sorrows, and inexhaustible mental impressions, vasanas. These vasanas invite new fields where they can be exhausted through their free expression in action.
So here he's just telling you that in our inborn ignorance, means we are born with that ignorance, and then what happens, we thoughtlessly propelled by our own wrong tendency keep doing it without thinking, ordering new vasanas. Remember, we said we are always born, if we are born in a human form, you have to be 100% sure that we have vasanas. We have likes and dislikes. We are born with tendency. Only a avatar, you've heard of the word avatar. Avatar is the one who doesn't have it. He is a completely in tune and he knows he's doing a leela. None of us. But if we don't know, this path, then we will be acting like that, ordering more vasanas. जो पहले की है उसमें और हम लोग ऐड कर रहे हैं. So instead of making it less, we are adding it more. That's what he's saying. That's what happens.
Naturally, the way out of this never-ending vicious circle of ego-motivated action, which creates vasanas, and they demand more fields to exhaust themselves, wherein the individual again fattens his ego and comes to entertain fresh sets of desires in the path of right action. God dedicated selfless actions performed in a spirit of devotion and self-surrender exhaust the existing vasanas and do not create of their own accord any more fresh tragic impressions, which in their turn would order fresh fields of activities.
So here he's talking about that God dedicated selfless action performed in the spirit of devotion. And this theme is going to go throughout Bhagavad Gita. And in chapter 9, he's going to tell that anything you do, he actually spells it out. That anything you do at home, at work, outside the world, in your mind, surrender to means offer it to God. He's saying that मैं भगवान को क्या offer करूं, कौन सा फूल चढ़ाऊं, क्या करूं. It's saying offer your karma to me. So what will happen is that if I do it like a offering, then I will not do a wrong thing automatically. Like कोई बोला कि घर में भले ही जाके वो शराब पिएगा, मीट खाएगा, पर प्रसाद में कभी नहीं चढ़ाएगा. We know that, right? So he's saying that if you offer that job to Bhagwan, then you will automatically start doing the right thing. So that's what it is. And then also accepting what comes to you as a prasad. So not having a fixed idea of the result that, oh, मैंने इतनी मेहनत की और मेरे को ये नहीं मिला. That attitude is gone completely. You do the offering, तो एक तरफ हम offer कर रहे हैं, दूसरी तरफ जब उसका result आता है वो प्रसाद की तरह ले रहे हैं. So that is the technique he's talking about. If we have developed that, then we are truly practicing karma yoga. Until then, we are not. Because ego kabhi hota hai, oh, I know better. मेरे को ऐसा मिलना चाहिए था, right? यही होता है ना. मैंने इतना काम किया, that person said this to me, why? And so who said so कि तुमको, that is somebody else to decide तुमको क्या मिलना चाहिए, because the result comes from above. The person who gives the result, or the nature bolo, Bhagwan bolo, jo bhi bolo, they look at every factor and give you result, not just your limited thinking, I should get this, So all these things are tied with each other. If we examine it closely, you will see that when we say ego, there are many facets of ego. And this is another facet that I'm not getting what I should deserve, what I deserve in life. It can be from job, it can be from family, it can be from anybody, And the moment we have that feeling that the ego factor is there in us, because we don't have the prasada buddhi, So pretty heavy stuff, right? But it's the truth.
If the limited concept of life in the Vedic period, work, karma, meant only the ritualistic sacrifices, these activities, pursued for a sufficiently long period, purified the heart, meaning integrated the personality and brought about a single-pointedness of mind in the individual. It is obvious that such a conditioned and steadied mind alone can successfully apply itself on the path of self-inquiry and come to rediscover the self, the divine soul.
Okay, we'll stop here because I just looked at the time because we want to do Mandukya also. Finish it before 12:30. So here he's just going to tell you that before Krishna Bhagwan wrote this said this Bhagavad Gita and Ved Vyasji compiled, the ritualistic जो यज्ञ और वगैरह करते थे ना वो लोग, उसमें that was called karma yoga in those days. You know, so उसका purpose क्या होता था, and that will be explained more detail in chapter 3. जो यज्ञ या सब लोग समझते हैं ना, यज्ञ हिंदी में बोलते हैं हम लोग, जो फायर सेरेमनी होती है, जो ओरिजिनल फायर सेरेमनी होती थी ना, वो किसी पर्टिकुलर घर में नहीं होती थी. दे यूज्ड टू डू इट कम्युनिटी वन. सारा पूरा गांव, पूरा सारा शहर उसमें सम्मिलित होता था. सो एवरीबडी यूज्ड टू ब्रिंग व्हाट दे कुड कंट्रीब्यूट. इफ कोई सफाई करेगा, कोई अनाज ले आएगा, कोई घी ले आएगा, अपनी अपनी कैपेसिटी से सभी लोग उसमें कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं. एंड देन दे यूज्ड टू डू द यज्ञ, एंड वो एटमॉस्फेयर को प्योरीफाई करता था. रेन, इट यूज्ड टू ब्रिंग डाउन रेन. देयर इज अ होल साइंटिफिक प्रोसेस. सो everybody contributed and the result is shared by everybody. You see the whole. So when you are doing in that mode, तुम्हारा अहंकार कम होता है, तुमको टीम स्पिरिट आती है, तुम दूसरों के लिए करते हो. कर्म योगा का जो वो लोग सिखाना चाह रहे हैं वो ऑटोमेटिकली आने लगता है, because you're not, one person is not doing it just for himself. This is a community wise. So that used to be the method to purify the mind. But now we are stopping here, but Krishna Bhagavan is going to explain Arjun didn't have the time to do that at the battlefield. He's not going to sit and do yagna to purify his mind. So Krishna Bhagavan revolutionized the whole thing and said, hey, tu jo lad raha hai na, wo bhi yagna hi hai. It is a kind of yagna, and this is how you do it. If you change your attitude, then you are purifying your mind. That's the paradigm shift over here. कि भाई अर्जुन ने भी शास्त्र सारे पढ़े थे, right? But he's like, the time demanded that you cannot sit and do yagna. And I think in Kali Yuga we have that perfect thing. You ask everybody in America, whether you're a housewife, a kid, or an old man, they say, I'm very busy, I don't have time, this, that. So Krishna Bhagavan said, okay, don't worry. You don't need to do yagna. You don't need to do this. What you do, offer it to God. Do in the surrender. Do a prasad buddhi. You are doing yagna. That's what he's talking about. Turning everything into yagna or sacrifice. Okay. So we will stop here. Any question on what we have done? No? Okay. Either you all went into samadhi or I did a great job. No, I'm just kidding.
You did a great job.
No. All of you are like having a quiet mind.
I just have one comment that I sent one talk by Sir Priyananda, part 2.
Yeah.
And that really covers this Karma Yoga so well.
Yes.
So
I heard it.
I want to listen to that before next time. And secondly, this is the most important part, at least I found, for doing a karma mode and get moksha. And that we'll find in the 3rd chapter.
Right. So whatever Joe always talks about, all that will be detailed in chapter 3. Somebody rang the bell in my house, and my husband doesn't listen to it usually. Do you guys mind if I just quickly go down for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So Manju, I had a question. Manju still there? Hey Manju, can you hear me? Manju is gone.
Yeah, see, my phone is off, no? That's why my son just came over, so, but I told him I'm in the class, so he's okay. Let's do the prayer. Om Bhadram Karne Vishranyam Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Jatraha Stirai Range Sushtu Vagam Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vridashavaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Staksharyo Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om Narayanam Padbhuvam Vashishtam Shaktincha Tatputra Parasharam Cha Vyasam Shukam Gauda Padam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasya Padma Padam Chahasta Malakancha Shishyam Tam Trotakam Vartika Karyamanyan Asmad Gurun Santata Manatosmi Asmad Gurun Santata Manatosmi. Okay. So, as we know that this one is coming to an end, so they are very much deep into the highest knowledge here. So we have to just bear with it. But because Bhagwan already told us about the highest knowledge in chapter 2, we may not understand everything, obviously. But the reason he said that highest knowledge was then only we will know our goal. That was one point. And second point is that all our problems in life arise from that I think I'm the body. My wrong identification with myself causes the sorrow and the grief. So that's why Krishna Bhagwan told him that you are that Atma, you are that eternal and all that. So that is the goal. But how to reach there is the whole Bhagavad Gita. So we are only at chapter 3. So we have a long way to go. So if this concept confuse you a bit, we don't have to worry about it because we may have finished this, but we are still doing Bhagavad Gita. So we have a lot of hope to get there. So just keeping that in mind. Okay. So 96. Ajeshvajam sankrantam dharmeshu jnanamishyate yato na kramate jnanam asangam tena kirtitam. Ajeshu is in the birthless. Ajam is unborn. Asankrantam, unrelated. Dharmeshu, separate entities. Jnanam, Dharmeshu, separate entity, and Jnanam is pure consciousness. Ishyate is traditionally held or admitted. Yataha is since. Na kramate, does not relate to any other object. Unconditioned. Jnanam, the knowledge. Asangam, not related. Tena, with that. Kirtitam, proclaimed. This is a little bit technical thing, but I'll just tell you what they're going to say. You know, when we say the word knowledge, we always relate it to like, it happens in my brain, isn't it? I know something. Somebody has Alzheimer's, then they cannot understand or something like that. That's our understanding from the worldly perspective. But see, Meeraji sent one NDE, right? So you saw that when they say that they went on the other realm, they knew everything and the knowledge was still there. So that proves that consciousness goes beyond. And in that pure consciousness is pure knowledge. And that's why it's called, everybody's heard of this word, Sat Chit Anand. Right? Sat means the truth. All 3 period of time it's there. Chit means conscious. Means in that knowledge state. You know everything. That's Chit. Anand is pure bliss. So he's going to tell you that pure knowledge is not conditioned by anything. And I was trying to think how we give the example. Example is that if I want to see objects in this room, what do I have to do? In the pitch darkness, I cannot see. Suppose the sun was not there, this is a bad example because there's too much sun in my house. I'll say koi gufa mein. Everybody has gone to the gufa, right? Sometimes when you go in the deep gufa, they want you to experience what is complete darkness, and they turn all the lights off. I don't know if you have experienced that. Somewhere in Texas they did it, and I really freaked out because you lose everything. You can't see you can't see your own hand also. Such a panicky feeling, especially when you're not used to it. A person who is maybe blind from childhood doesn't know the difference, but for us, we'll freak out. So to see the objects, I need light or sun or artificial light. So this room is dark, I put the light on, I see things. But suppose the light is on, but there are no things to see. The light is still shining. Or the sun is there and there are no objects to illumine. Tomorrow some big disaster happened, the earth is gone, the sun is still shining. That is called the pure knowledge, unconditioned by anything. So if you can remember that, then this will make slight sense. Because some people think that knowledge can only happen when you are conditioned with the brain or body or mind or intellect. But what Vedanta says is there's a pure knowledge which doesn't require anything. And then these NDE people who have gone on the other realm, they 100% confirm it. They didn't have the body, they didn't have the mind, they didn't have the intellect, and they were fully aware. Anita Murjani, she was fully aware of everything. That pure knowledge they're talking about. Okay.
And also that pure knowledge includes the worldly knowledge that we have acquired.
Yeah, that's a very small portion of, in fact, most of them knew everything about world, about their relative, their this, that, and they call it life review, where then within an instant they knew what kind of actions they did, and usually we know how it affected us a little bit, right? They knew how it affected other person completely. It's hard for us to fathom it, and the only glimpse we get about that is in chapter 11, where Vishwarup Darshan, where Arjun could see 3 periods of time altogether. That's what in that pure knowledge, all these things happen which we cannot imagine, but just even glimpse of it we have through these other people's experience, so we can thoda bahut understand it intellectually. That's all it is, But just to give what you have to remember, that the knowledge is not only conditioned by our body and then it becomes a knowledge. No. Knowledge has its own pure form. That's what we have to remember. Okay. कौन पढ़ेगा? किसके पास है किताब? I think Anil ji does have this book, right?
Hey, Mom.
एक second, my son is calling me.
Mom locked the door.
Oh, you only came for 1 minute, you don't want to stay?
Well, Nikki, I had to go pick her up.
Oh, okay.
She's at the doctor.
Okay, so I can leave this door open over here. Why don't you go from here?
Is the bottom door locked?
No, just lock it and go out from here, there.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you come in, just come in from the upper door if you want to come back.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
You want me to read it or?
Yeah, did I do the
No, you
Sanskrit?
haven't.
Okay, Ajay Shu in the birth. I thought I did it. No? I don't know. Because all the disturbance, I got messed up. Ajay Shu is in the birthless. Ajam is unborn. Asakrantam, unrelated. Dharmeshu, separate entities. Gnanam, pure consciousness. Ishyate is traditionally held, admitted. Yataha, since, na kramate, does not relate to any object that is unconditioned. Gnanam, this knowledge. Asangam, not related. Tena, with that. Kirtitam, proclaimed. हाँ अभी पढ़ सकते हैं आप.
Pure consciousness, the essence of these separate entities, is admitted to be itself unborn and unrelated to any of the external objects. This knowledge is proclaimed to be unconditioned as it is not in any way related to any other objects.
So the sentence sounds very complicated, but I explain what they mean. Pure knowledge without any condition means without any body, mind, and intellect.
So that's why everybody, when they do not have pure consciousness, they see things differently.
Through the mirror of body, mind, and intellect, we see the world, and that's where the problem comes in. या तो जो सेंट्स एंड सेजेस है ना, उनका एकदम पारदर्शी हो गया, क्लियर हो गया है, वो कुछ भी उन पर डर्ट नहीं है, कोई ईगो नहीं है, कोई हेट नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है, तो फिर द कॉन्शियसनेस शाइन्स एज दो गॉड इज देयर, क्या दे आर गॉड, यू नो, लाइक दैट.
Here the attempt is to review the theory of
Nyayaka. We did that. Nyayaka think that it is a conditional knowledge. That's what it is, huh?
Meaning realists who declare that knowledge is an attribute of the Atma and arises only when the mind comes in contact with an external object. It was the labor of the Karika to prove to us that the external world of objects is a mere delusory projection of the mind. In terms of the projection, the scientific world or the world of ordinary transactions, we understand by the term knowledge only the conditioned awareness. When I am aware of a thing, I declare my knowledge of it. The possibility of the knowledge absolute by itself is not generally understood or experienced by the average man because of his incapacity to get himself completely detached from his own mental projections of the objectified world.
See what he's saying? He's saying that we have a lot of difficulty in detaching from our mind. That's why we don't understand what that pure knowledge is. But if somebody can do that in this very life, they can experience the pure knowledge. But those people who had the near-death experience, they were pushed out of their body, their consciousness. So they didn't have the layer of the body, mind, intellect, and then they saw everything in that pure, much more pure form.
So is it also saying that whatever we see is based on our vasanas?
Yes, that's 100%. You got it absolutely correct. That's why that vasana kshaya or reducing the vasana, anything we do to make that layer better, clearer is the sadhana. And we are going toward the self-realization.
And then Karma Yoga basically peels off those layers.
Yes.
Vasanas.
Yes, 100%. In fact, that is, for us, people like us, that's the only way. We have no other way to do it.
This is spiritual center of knowledge, absolute. Alone is real, and the experience of samadhi is the experience of knowing the knowledge. Objectless awareness is the self. And to come to this experience is the real success of life. The goal and the way, it is just like the light and the heat belonging to the sun. The unconditioned knowledge absolute itself gets shattered, as it were, to produce the multiplicity tantalized by which the ego centers make a mockery of their own godhood through sobs and sighs, laughs and dances.
So he's just telling you, in his own words that he called it objectless awareness. I gave you that example that all the objects are gone in the room, the light is still shining, or samadhi. Here is another definition of samadhi. I don't know if Geeta ji is still there. Are you there, Geeta ji? Maybe not, because her screen